Hello, everybody. I wanted to do a video on careers in the automotive field. Now, I'm going to focus on the automotive field. I have been in the automotive field for over 4 years. I still go back into it every once in a while when friends need my help. And it's nice to get back out in the field and see the real world. As a college professor, you can get blindsided by just reading books and not experiencing true world type situations. And I really like the complex type stuff. But let's go ahead and get started. I have a PowerPoint up there for you right now, but I'm not going to really rely a lot on that. I'm just going to bring up a lot of my experience of being in the field and the way I progressed. So just kind of a uh, refresher. I am a third generation mechanic slash technician. I've been in the automotive field for most of my life. I did take a little bit of time over into, um, as a young kid, you're always exploring, and I encourage you to explore, especially as you go through life. The things tend to put curves at you every once in a while, but don't be afraid. They're there for a reason. You continue, to pick yourself up and continue on. Um, but I started off just going into my grandfather's shop. My dad worked for my grandfather. My grandfather had a shop in Downey, and our specialty at the shop was automatic transmissions. Later on, as went into the shop to just kind of sweep floors and like that, and there again, I encourage you to start at the bottom. You get to see a lot of things going on. I liked what I was doing. I would go in, I'd sweep floors, clean tools, be out on the steam cleaning rack, and doing that. But I got to see things going on. I got to kind of shadow what way how the automobiles were repaired. One of the other things I did was cleaning up cars afterwards, and I also vacuumed out the cars and made them presentable to the actual customers, which was enjoyable. Um, Later on, I built up some of my skills. My grandfather and my dad started trusting me, and I started doing some minor things. And as I continued to build up a little more, where I was really being very well at what I was doing, my dad and my grandfather would give me a little more to do, a little more to do. And I really enjoyed it. It was learning on the job. And I really at that time had no formal automotive classes except for a high school auto shop class, which I excelled in. It was not very hard for me to do. I had kind of that background with my dad and my grandfather. So as I went along, I gained more and more skills, and I enjoyed what I was doing. And then I ended up going back to school later on. Later on, I ended up going back to school after college, after high school, and ended up really enjoying what I was doing. So think about it. I started off probably when I was 13 cleaning floors. About 16 was when I was starting to do some kind of repairs, and I kind of just continued on. And my dad always had side jobs going on. I shouldn't say always, there was side jobs going on, and he would actually uh, bring cars to our garage at home, and I would help him out and watch what he was doing. And when I turned 16, or right around 16, I actually purchased my first car. It was a beater. I paid $125 for it. So it wasn't that great of a car, but it was something that was mine. And it sat in the garage for a long time because I had to go through it. there was quite a few mechanical issues with it, and the seats were torn and like that. So I wanted to have a nice car. Later on, after I got it working and actually roadworthy, I took it down to the local paint shop and had it painted, which was quite a bit. It had a lot of rust marks on stuff like that too. So, and I got my seats done on it, and it became my car. And I love that car. It was a 1963 Chevy Impala Super Sport, and I would have that today if it wasn't stolen so many times. But anyways, this is how my career progressed. Later on, my grandfather sold the shop, and I went out to work in independent, still on my own kind of thing. I had my own tools at that point. I did some repairs for a friend of mine. He was running he was actually running a rental car place. So I got a lot more experience that way. And then I worked for a actual Union 76 at the time. It wasn't Unical then, it was Union 76. I was the mechanic in the back. But later on, my boss seen a lot of great things happen, and he liked the way I, kind of organize things. And he said, you know what, I need somebody to manage the place. And I started managing, and that was probably my first experience of managing a shop. And I didn't just manage shop, I actually managed the gas pumps too, and the people all together. So I was the one that did actually all the decisions and calls. So and then I got to really start working with customers. Before, I was always my grandfather or my dad would take care of things, or it would be a shop that they would take care of things and like that. So I started to learn customer service and stuff like that. About a little later on, I decided, you know what, we had a contract at the Union 76 station with CHP. And I explored that again, still exploring. And I went to CHP for a while, and it really wasn't me. And you'll find that in life, that you're going to find things that just aren't you. Okay, you don't fit in, kind of thing. So when I went right back to working on cars, and it's been my passion most of my life. I enjoy the way they work. I like science, and you'll find in this career that science is a big thing. I mean, I always, tell my students, if you don't like math, or you don't like chemistry and like that, it's may not be the job for you. And this job can be where it's not your fit. Let's put it that way. So I worked for quite a while for more mom and pops shops. And then I went, I worked for one place, and again, if you don't feel like you're being treated right, you should speak up. I spoke up, and my boss at the time didn't agree with me. So we parted ways, and it was fairly easy to part this way. I just talked to other shops. I had kind of a name for myself in the area, and I went to work for another place. And then later on, another job opportunity come up, and I went to work for another place. I kept on progressing up. I was managing one shop here, one shop there, also working on things. I went to work for another place, an air conditioning place, and I learned a lot of experience on that end too, which I really enjoyed. I wasn't pigeonholed to all I want to do is electrical. All I want to do is engine performance. I actually worked on bumper to bumper, and that was pretty much what my dad dictated. My dad said, I enjoyed doing like puzzles and stuff like that. So engine performance and electrical were a lot of fun for me. And I told my dad, I don't want to do that job. I want to just do the tune-ups and stuff like that. And my dad said, no, you're going to do bumper to bumper. So my dad is my mentor. Let's put it that way. He really showed me the correct way to repair cars. He encouraged me to go to school. and he encouraged me to get my ASCs and my certifications along the way. And we had a kind of a competition who could actually get the most certifications too. It was fun. It still is fun. But anyways, later on, I was working for one place, and then there was an opportunity that came up with the University of Southern California, or USC, and they were looking for a master mechanic. And I said, "Oh, I'll try it." And I got the job, and I worked there for a year. And my director at USC in transportation said, "You're doing a great job. I'm going to promote you to the actual maintenance manager," which put a lot of more responsibility, but it was more managing as I went along. So, and then I worked there for quite a while, and there was a change of management. And again, I was always outspoken, and I didn't agree. So I chose to move on. I actually did some contract training for Cerritos College at the time, and I appreciated, I appreciate that. I mean, I could always find a job, and that's what I'm trying to get at. You're always find a job if you're good at what you do, and that goes to any skills that you might have. If you want a really good job, you need to apply yourself. You need to do your best, and always do your best, and learn from your mistakes. I mean, along the way, I didn't just do everything perfect. I learned from my mistakes. Even in the teaching profession, I try new things each semester, and some of them work and some of them don't. And as a professor, I learn from what I do. I learn from my colleagues. I learn a lot from my students. Uh, but anyways, getting kind of back into it, it was 2014. In August of 2014, I got the job at Santa Ana College, and that's where I've been since. I'm on my 8th year right now. I'll be going into my 9th year in fall. I enjoy where I work. It's a passion to give back to the students that come through my classes, and I will help them and help you as much as I can. So with that all being said, I wanted to go over a few opportunities. Now, these are just a few. The automotive field just is explosive. Let's put it that way. There's so many avenues you can go. And nowadays, with the new technologies coming on, you have so many opportunities. I encourage you to start in the bottom, get some introductory stuff going, and explore and see which works for you. There's going to be some of you are really inept to doing electrical, and some of you are very mechanically, and that's what you enjoy doing. And if you enjoy what you're doing, continue on with that. But I would explore. I would actually round yourself out, because you never know what job opportunities might be out there. If I had actually stayed with just doing electrical and engine performance, I might have got myself out of some jobs, because one of the jobs I actually took on was as a suspension and steering and brakes professor at Pasadena Center College. So there's always more opportunity, and since I was well-rounded, I could pretty much teach all the different systems. Excuse me there. So let's go ahead and continue on. I'm kind of getting a little bit, I wouldn't say ahead of myself. I just want to give you kind of an idea of what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit of a PowerPoint so I can show you some pictures, kind of just getting you a little more of the background of the automotive field. So, and I should say more of the career background, let's put it that way, and the opportunities that you have out there. So if I put this together real quickly, and I should say real quickly, actually it's not that bad. I wanted to give you kind of a quick little, organizational chart I love this chart because it does tell you quite a bit. If you really are interested in the field, I would, like I said before, I would start off with the basics. Okay, get yourself an idea of what the what careers are out there. Do your research. Don't just go by what I say. It may not fit for you, but I would do my research and see where I actually fit. I've had people come into the program and they go through the whole program and then they end up doing something else, which is fine. I have yeah, a guy I know that actually went through and became a tech, and he didn't, it wasn't really him, and he ended up going into car sales, and he excels at it because that's what he likes to do. So if you look at the chart that I have in front of you right now, you can do all kinds of things. You could be a dealership, the owner of the dealership. You could be a general manager, and then it kind of splits off from there. And then you hear about the district managers, area managers, and stuff like that. This chart can actually explode more out. So you have service managers, shop foremans, and this is really talking about your bigger shops is what I'm really getting at. And then you can have, the service technician, which a lot of you might want to be. You may be a service advisor. Sometimes service technicians later on, they become service writers or service advisors, and they work themselves up to foremans and service managers as they go along. One thing that I don't think some people think about is there's a big support mechanism too to this automotive field. You have parts managers, you have parts runners, people that have to deliver the parts, pick the parts up. You've got the counter person, like the O'Reillys and the different auto parts places. And then, of course, you've got those, times that somebody bends up their car a little bit. Then you have, the body shops, you have the painters, the body technicians, and it's changed over the years. We have a bunch of different types of procedures when it comes to the body work. We have a bunch of different procedures when it comes to repairing vehicles too. And like I said before, we have the new vehicle managers and the actual office staff that has to be in there to support. You got the finance officers, you got the sales people, and then of course people trade in their cars. Okay, and then we have the used cars, managers, the office staff for that end of it too. And we didn't even put the office staff for the other parts of it. We have people that are doing billing. We're doing people that are purchasing parts and purchasing the cars, and the people that work with the people to with their used car to trade it in. Maybe there's a leasing department. You can see how this continues to grow. Well, it goes beyond just this chart right here. You have, engineers that design the cars. The new technologies is coming out. We've got, autonomous cars are coming out, which are not, I shouldn't say coming out, they're out in the field right now. There are some companies that actually have these cars that are actually have no driver in them at all. Some of them don't even have a steering wheel. And it's a nice little taxi service for some people to actually, get from here to there. You think about, people who, that are impaired, like blind people. How do they get around unless they have family members that can actually help them? These are all the things, and the automotive industry continues to grow. I'll do another video fairly soon on the heavy duty side of the world, because that is evolving also. So, so most large dealerships, are very, very busy. Other shops are very, very busy. I've visited quite a few shops, and even during the COVID pandemic, shops had to be open because people needed to get around when we started getting back into norms. And the COVID really hurt all industries in the automotive field. And I feel, yes, I agree that the frontline workers are, in part, the medical side, the grocery stores. But you think about it, how do we get products around? We have, heavy duty trucks need to get the products around. We're going to keep on heating. We're going to keep on doing things. And then when we got back and when we started lightening up on the pandemic, then we needed to get the cars back on the road. And that takes a little bit of work also. So independent shops, there's all kinds of, shops, and that's another thing I didn't bring up. You have the people that want to own shops. And I really encourage, if you're in that thought process, that you actually get a little business training behind you. Take some business classes. We have some business classes at Santa Ana College where you can take a majority of them online, and you can do it on your own time. And that's what makes it really convenient for people that are busy people. And we do have quite a few opportunities at Santa Ana College for you to take some classes online. But maybe you want to own your own shop. Maybe you like working on cars, or maybe you don't like working on cars. You just like running the shop. This is a great opportunity for you too, just to either run a shop for somebody or own a shop. And then you run it, or you can be almost like a silent partner. You actually have somebody run it for you, or maybe you like working on cars, but you want to own your own shop and you get somebody to run it for you. And sometimes you're small enough that all you do is you actually run the shop and work on the cars too. It gets a little, cumbersome sometimes, but I've seen shops do that also. Then you get into the parts stores, like the Napas, the O'Reillys, all the other different ones that are out there. And then there are some independent and parts houses out there too. So these, are actually opportunities again in the automotive field, because we have to have parts to fix the cars. And then we have these specialty shops, like your Midases. That's one of them. Your tire shops. Some of your tire shops are considered specialty type shops. Maybe you have a performance shop that you work for, or you want to work for a performance shop. There's all the different types of shops out there that have any, whatever flavor you want, like that. And then we get into the fleets. Now, this is something that I have worked in the independent side. I've never worked for a dealership myself personally, and that's an opportunity too. But I also worked at USC, which is considered a fleet. And we had a fleet of buses. We had a fleet of electric cars. We had a fleet of regular cars. I had all kinds of equipment that I was responsible for. The only thing I didn't work on is some, which I'm glad, but I'm sure I could have, but it was actually USC had some boats that went out to the Wrigley Institute, which is on Catalina Island. So I had to go over there every once in a while, and I had a territory everywhere from up north to down south, and we actually had some stuff out in Nevada too. So I was pretty busy traveling there for a while. And of course, like I said before, there's all kinds of people that need it at the parts house to pick up the parts, order their parts, because they got to restock the parts. And there's going to be people that have to, put the parts out and deliver the parts to. So if you choose to go on the independent side of the world, I would definitely encourage you, like I said before, I would encourage you to get some, management skills behind you, learn a little bit about business, because there's a lot more than just going and turning on the lights, opening the doors, and having customers come in. There's a lot more to it. If you start small, you're going to have to learn as you grow. And I would really encourage you to take on some business classes to make sure that you don't violate any laws, because there's quite a few laws and regulations that you have to be aware of. And it's not just all about fixing cars. All right. Well, I hope this presentation was helpful for you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can get my email address down below, and also I'll leave, of course, I'll leave my contact information. If this is helpful to you and you like the video, please do, and I will be talking to you soon. And if you can help, by subscribing, this would help, uh, what they say, algorithm and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm not so much about that. This is pretty much more for my students, but I like to invite everybody. And like I said, if you have any questions, I've been in the field for over 40 years, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. All right, bye for now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and we'll get back at it next time.